along those lines, what do you do? I guess what's kind of your whatever writing routine you have? Um,
Mhm.
how do you kind of go about your? Do you have to do like certain kind of music? Do you use certain kind of tools? Like, what's your
Mhm.
writing routine like?
All right. People hate when I talk about this. So that's why I love talking about it because I get so much hate for this. So I am boring and I use Microsoft Word to draft. I've always used Word. I've thought about trying Scrivener, but I'm like, I've done used Word for so long. I just kind of work. It just kind of works for me.
Mhm.
And I can't do this anymore because of how, my life has changed since I first started writing books. But I am a binge writing machine.
Mm,
Now it helped that I lived alone for a while, but I would wake up in the morning about 7 a.m. and I would write for like 3 hours. I would get ready, take a little break, have some lunch, write for 4 or 5 more hours,
mhm.
have my dinner, then write for 3 or 4 more hours before going to bed. On days that I was off from work, like weekends, or usually when I was writing a book, I'd take a week off.
Mhm.
My strategy was take a week off work around Thanksgiving, so we get like some time off for work provided time off for the holidays. Not a
Sure.
ton of family commitments. It's just like Thanksgiving Day. It's not like Christmas where I might have a lot of family commitments.
Mhm.
Basically, strategic time off where I can be a total hermit.
Mhm.
So days where I'm off, I wrote anywhere from 8 to 12,000 words a day.
Wow.
Days where I wasn't off from work, I'd log off from work and I would write 3 to 4,000 words before I
Yeah.
went to bed. So I am a machine when
Mhm.
I write books. For example, my fourth book, now it's not edited or anything. It might be edited down. It's right now it's 150,000 words. I did
Mhm.
that in about 6 weeks.
Wow. That's crazy.
The outline helps too, right?
Yeah.
If I didn't have that outline, I don't think I could write that many words a day.
Sure.
If I was just pantsing, I'd probably be doing half of that.
Mhm.
But for me, it's all about discipline,
Yeah.
all about being disciplined in what I do, getting up at the same time, doing the same things. I'm very regimented, very routine oriented.
Yeah.
That's obviously all going to change now.
Yeah.
But back when I was writing this series, it worked. That's
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
And my other people hate this too. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Some people swear by it. I read this on the internet. It wasn't my own idea. So
Mhm.
some people do this. I actually write in Comic Sans.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about it. It makes it feel less serious,
Mhm.
so it makes me write faster.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
I think whatever tool works.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people will be like, oh my God, Comic Sans, but it looks so ugly. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you're right. Writing a death scene in Comic Sans, it changes the feeling a little
Right.
bit. But for me, I already know the death's gonna happen. I already know exactly what I'm gonna write about. It's just getting the words on the paper. So whatever means necessary to do it, I will do it.
Yeah.
Aside from AI, I won't be doing that. Whatever
Yeah.
means necessary in terms of me actually doing it myself. That's what
Yeah.
I mean.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, that you're reminding me of I don't know if you know who Jonathan Weiss is.
I do.
So he's publishing a book every like 5 months or something.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I was just blown away by that. I was like,
Machine.
that's craziness. Yeah,
You
it's
know,
awesome.
it's amazing. Him. I mean, even if you want to go with guys like Brandon Sanderson too, who just
Mhm.
they can pump out books, and I mean, maybe if I didn't have a full time job, I could write more
Mhm.
books like they do because I've developed some pretty good processes to write books fast.
Yeah.
My issue is going through the publishing process and
Mhm.
that being very slow. Like getting cover art, getting it edited. I tend to take my time with edits. So
Mhm.
that's really where I don't want to call it a roadblock because it's important, but that's where my roadblock to publishing quickly comes through. I
Yeah.
take a long time to edit and I take a long time to decide, what the back cover says or all the other stuff that goes
Yeah.
into publishing. But now that I've done this first one, I have a good group of people for critiques, the beta reading, for art. So now I probably have to spend less time searching for freelancers now that I have a solid core of people I can ask. But
Having a good team that you've already
yes,
kind of pre-vetted and know
yeah,
they're gonna do a good job and all that is helpful. for sure.
It's pretty important. I mean, if you're writing your first book, you're probably going to have to go through this process of finding, it's about finding what you like too, right? There's so many kinds of fantasy covers out there. I had to decide, do I want people on the cover? Do I want someone who's going to draw people? Do I want like a symbol on the cover? Is it an environment kind of cover? I had to decide that. Now, I didn't go with my cover, which I'll show it right here. I didn't go with this cover because I thought it was like the most popular thing at the time. I didn't really try to chase trends. It's just, I was browsing artists, and it's just the art style I fell in love with the most. The artist's name is Felix Ortiz. If you're in the indie sphere, you've probably heard of him. He does a lot of self-published fantasy covers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So, what keeps you motivated then to write? So you obviously have no issue getting the words out. So what kind of keeps you, is it like the itch in the back of your head that keeps you wanting to write?
Yeah, I think I just like telling stories. I think that's really the main part of it. This isn't my job, right? I'm not making a paycheck from this, right? I got to work full time for that. So the books aren't paying bills. So why am I motivated to do it? I like telling stories, and I love when I get a review, if it's a review or someone messaging me saying, I really love the words you put down on paper in some whatever way they feel like saying it. I'm like, you know what? That feels awesome. I think at deep down, this sounds really weird. I like entertaining people, and for me, that way comes through words. And if people are entertained by what I write, if they find some sort of meaning in what I write, then I'm very happy. I find fulfillment through that.
Yeah. Yeah. Telling stories is, it's been how we've always communicated the best and taught each other about ourselves and learned things about who you are and all that's the same for me. I just love telling stories. I love reading stories. I love watching stories. Yeah.
And I think it's fun. I don't know. After all this time, I haven't written anything in a while, but I still think it's fun. And there's not a lot of better feelings than holding a book you published in your hands, right?
Right.
It feels pretty nice. It'll feel that it never gets old either. Like I just reordered a batch of author copies. I had run out, so I reordered a batch. The feeling of opening a box of a book you wrote, it never gets old. It really doesn't. It's really cool.
I always wonder if, like Brandon Sanderson or someone he's just putting out books. Like if he ever is like, well, there's another one,
There's another one.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't, but
I would love to hear that from the authors who have written, 100 books.
Yeah.
Like if you write your 102nd book, do you still get the same feeling as when you wrote your first or your second or your third? I don't know. I'd love to know. I'm not sure if I'll ever write 100 books. That's a lot. But if I ever get to that point, I'm wondering how I'll feel. I have no idea. I guess we'll see I'll let you know when I get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to hear like from a James Patterson or something of like,
right.
How he could, I don't know how many he's written, hundreds.
Tons. Yeah.
But it's like, does he, clearly it doesn't get old because he keeps writing them.
Keeps doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So what do you think about, so you kind of mentioned AI. I don't like going too much down the rabbit hole because people get real intense about it.
That they do. That they do.